Good evening. Here is the world news from BGI TV, Babagide Imo TV. I am Morire Rebila Lawal. First are the major headlines. We did not ask banks to collect old 500 naira, 1000 naira notes, CBN cries out. No need for violence in Lagos, says Sanwo-Olu. Protest in Mowe turns bloody, 2 killed, others injured. To the next headlines, 1 killed as hoodlums go berserk in Port Harcourt. And to foreign, UK fears post-election violence in Nigeria, threatens politicians with visas. Lastly, beach volleyball, 38 teams battle for President's Cup. The news in details. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has said it did not direct banks to collect the old 500 naira and 1000 naira as earlier reported. Director of Corporate Communication, Mr. Osita Onwani-Sobi, said that these in response to media reports that the Apex Bank had directed commercial banks to collect the old 500 naira and 1000 naira. He said the attention of the Central Bank of Nigeria has been drawn to some fake and unauthorized messages, quoting the CBN as having authorized the deposit money banks to collect the old 500 naira and 1000 naira banknotes. For the avoidance of doubt and in line with Mr. President's broadcast on February 16th, the CBN has been directed to only reissue, recirculate the old 200 naira note, and this is expected to circulate as legal tender for 60 days up to April 10th. Members of the public should therefore disregard any message and or information not formally released by the Central Bank of Nigeria on this subject. Media practitioners are advised to please verify any information from the correct sources before publications. Moving on to Lagos, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has noted with deep concern the protests in some parts of Lagos State this morning, adding that there is no need for violence in the metropolis. Part of Lagos experienced some unrest with protesters who are said to be angry over the Naira redesign, taking to the streets and displaying their frustration with violence. In his reaction, Governor Sanwo-Olu said he believes there is no need for violence as Supreme Court is looking into this controversial matter and will make its position known on February 22nd. According to a statement by his Commissioner for Information and Strategy, Gbenga Omotosho, the governor said Lagos State has since joined the legal dispute, all in the interest of its people, and the belief that the highest court in the land has the capacity to abdicate on the matter. He added that the fuel situation is easing following some steps taken by the government. Sanwo-Olu praised Lagosians for showing understanding despite the pains that the federal government measures have brought to them. Moving on to the next story. Protest in Mowe, Ogun State turned bloody on Friday after one person was allegedly shot dead by soldiers who were deployed to disperse the protesters who had barricaded the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. The victim, a commercial bus driver simply identified as Ibrahim, was said to be trying to move his minibus away from the road where it was parked when a stray bullet hit him. It was learned that another lady who was operating a gambling shop close to the main road was also hit on the face by another stray bullet. New Telegraph also learned that some other protesters sustained injuries when they were scampering for safety. Immediately, the information about the death of the commercial bus driver filtered into town. Everywhere became charged as parents rushed to their children's schools hurriedly to pick them up, while some shop owners also shut their shops for fear of being attacked. Unfortunately, policemen were nowhere to be found to complement the effort of the soldiers in the area. Meanwhile, some political talks also used the opportunity to engage each other in free-for-all fight. A member of the All Progressive Congress (APC) in the community was also reportedly hacked to death by some suspected cultists loyal to a governorship candidate. To the next story. One person's feared dead, several others robbed and wounded as hoodlums took advantage of the protest over currency redesign hardship to attack residents and motorists in Mile 3, Diobu, Port Harcourt, Rivers State. The street violence started at Ikoku Junction, Ikwere Road Access, Port Harcourt City Local Government Area. It then spread to the main gate of the River State University, RSU, where a lady lay lifeless as the hoodlums robbed passers-by and residents. An eyewitness narrated to Vanguard at about 9 a.m. I was inside the house when my wife called me at Ikoku. I came out and saw people running, scampering for safety. Armed boys were chasing people. I don't know who they are. Buses and all cars were running confused in all directions. I saw a bonfire at Ikoku roundabout near the new flyover. The boys were looting and mugging people. They were robbing people, collecting handsets and handbags, and claiming they were protesting because of the money issue. And to the next story from Benue State. A group known as the Forum of Tertiary Academics, FOTA, in Benue State has disclosed that over 600 people have been killed in 54 herdsmen attacks in 10 council wards of Makurdi and Gwe West local government area. The group also said the casualties were recorded from 8 council wards in Gwe West local government and 2 council wards of Makurdi LGA of the state in the last 11 years. It is worthy of note that until recently, Taishin Nation was known for its peaceful and calm atmosphere for both our indigents and settlers alike. Disguised as pastoralists, the Fulani herdsmen militia have an agenda to kill, rape, maim, occupy, and annex the old Taishin community. We want the world to know that scale, magnitude, and the frequency of these attacks have assumed a new dimension that, if nothing is done about it, and ultimately it may escalate into total annihilation and annexation of Taishan land by these armed Fulani herdsmen and militias. We'll go to Anambra State. Anambra State Police Command has confirmed an attack on the staff of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, and other ad hoc staff. Tochukwu Ikenga, the spokesperson for the Anambra Police Command, in a press release said the INEC staff were undergoing training when the gunmen attacked. The statement reads in part, the INEC staff, with some core members, university undergraduates, and some MDA officials on a training program for ad hoc staff for the forthcoming 2023 general elections, were disrupted by armed men. No life was lost as the joint security team successfully rescued and prevented the armed men from hurting the electoral officials on an assignment at Ukbo High School in Newi South LGA. Joint security patrols have been intensified in the area and efforts are still going to track down the criminal elements. From Anambra State, we go to Adamawa. A police patrolman has gunned down a woman in the Adamawa State capital, Yola, causing public fear. It was gathered Friday morning that the incident, which occurred at Dubeli Culvert in Jimeta, Yola North LGA by 9 p.m. on Thursday, also injured 2 children of the deceased and 1 other person. The offending policeman was said to be among policemen on routine patrol in the neighborhood who held up a young man found sitting in front of his compound. Witnesses said the policeman wanted to whisk the man away, but the neighbor resisted, demanding an explanation, a situation that annoyed the policeman, who allegedly fired shots that hit and killed the woman, Miriam Abdullahi, a 70-year-old grandmother. The gunshot allegedly also hit 3 other people, 2 of them the woman's children, causing them injury. Angry youth reacted to the development by going violent and attacking the Dubeli police station within the community. Responding to an inquiry, the police public relations officer, PPRO in the state, SP Suleiman Ungoroje, said the police sergeant implicated in the gunshot has been arrested. He added that the command was carrying out further investigation to know more facts on the case. And to the next story. A recent report by the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, MAN, has predicted imminent mass job losses in the first quarter of 2023 amid the currency crisis. The confidence index report by MAN indicated that the employment rate would dip below benchmark point to 48.8 points in the first quarter of 2023. The new figures also represent a downward spiral from the 49.2 points obtained in the preceding quarter. Employment conditions for the next 3 months dipped below the benchmark point to 48.8 points, which are also below 49.2 points obtained in the preceding quarter. Now, an economic expert believes the recent confidence index report by MAN may not be unconnected with the controversy and hardship generated by the Central Bank of Nigeria currency redesign and swap process. To the next story, which is the foreign news. The UK government has expressed concerns about post-election violence erupting in Nigeria, threatening to issue a visa ban on the country's politicians linked to the violence. Nigerians go to the polls on February 25th to elect the president and federal lawmakers, and on March 11th to elect state governors and legislators. While addressing journalists on Thursday in Abuja, British High Commissioner to Nigeria, Catherine Ling, said despite reassurance from the Nigeria police force, potential post-election violence worried the UK government. She added, "Another thing we are worried about is post-election violence, as we saw in the past. I cannot remember the year. If any of the party supporters feels this election is stolen, my candidate should have won. There is a risk of violence." To complete the world news from BGI TV this hour is a sports story. No fewer than 38 teams are battling for honor at the ongoing President Beach Volleyball Cup Championship holding at the Ahmadu Bello Stadium Beach Volleyball Courts. The technical director of the Nigeria Volleyball Federation, NVBF, Chief Martin Minladi, the championship, which started off on Tuesday, February 14, will climax on Sunday, February 19, 2023. He said 13 men and 7 women's teams are battling for honor in the senior categories, while in the under-17 categories, 10 boys and 8 girls teams indicated interest. He said the NVBF is working assiduously in ensuring players get enough playing time due to the number of international engagements. The number of players participating in this year's President Beach Volleyball Cup is encouraging. It means the players are beginning to pick interest in beach volleyball in Nigeria. That ends the world news. Before we go, some major headlines. We did not ask bank to collect old 500 Naira and 1000 Naira notes, CBN says. No need for violence in Lagos, says Sanwo-Olu. We also brought to you protest in Mowe turns bloody, 2 killed, others injured. 1 killed as hoodlums go berserk in Port Harcourt. And lastly, on sports. Beach volleyball, 38 teams battle for President's Cup. For more updates on YouTube, our handle is Babagede Imo TV. Kindly subscribe and click on the notification bell. Select option all to access our broadcast. On Facebook, Bagede Imo with Alawiye Adebayo. Please like and follow the page. On Instagram, Bagede Imo _22. For advert placement of your goods and services, coverage of events and functions, please dial the phone number streaming on your screen for advert placements only. Jumat Mufida to all faithful Muslims all around the world. I am Morire Rabila Lawal. Good evening.
Oh, na, na, na. If you want to know what's going on in city, or you want to listen to the latest news and gist, no stress, oh, just tune to BGI TV. BGI TV, you're one in a million.